Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play Blades of Avernum. Last episode, we started another scenario. We are to go into this valley, Twilight Valley it was, in order to find the missing daughter of the mayor. The valley itself is very beautiful, almost concerningly so. And there have been more than just the mayor's daughter disappearing. At least 2 other people have disappeared, with others in other regions. So, we're going to be looking into that as well. Either way, we've looked through most of the town, and now we have basically just these 3 buildings and this person here to talk to. So let's do so. This young lady is leaning against a tree, strumming on a guitar when you approach. She pauses and notes something down on a sheet of paper at her side before playing a slightly different tune. After a moment, she realizes you are there and looks up at you. "Hello, I'm Kathleen. Nice to meet you," she says and turns back to note something down on her paper. "Did you want something?" "Wow, that was good. Been playing long?" Kathleen beams. "Aw, thanks. I've only been playing a few months, but I'm getting better all the time. You know, not many people around here appreciate my playing, but I can tell you have sense. Is there anything I can do for you?" "Is it safe to be out here?" Kathleen nods and looks around. "I'm pretty well hidden on this hill. Nah, I don't think I'm in any real danger, and if I do see anything weird, all I have to do is scream and run. The temple isn't too far from here. Besides, people only ever disappear at night. I'm fine here. I like it here, and I'm not going to leave." "What's been happening around here lately?" "Well, you must know about the disappearances. That is why you're here, right?" You nod. "Thought so. Well, Mayor Stone is pretty upset, which I understand. Me and Lorena were sort of close, and it's hit me hard, too." She stops a moment and rubs her forehead. "Yeah, as I was saying, Mayor Stone is going mad with worry, and has got his old friend Roxy to help look for Lorena with you. But aside from that, and Tova's running off, everything's pretty normal." "You and Lorena were friends?" Kathleen nods. Not really close, but yes, we talked. The night she went missing, we had been talking about the future. We were both going to leave the valley when we were old enough, and we were making plans, dreaming. The next morning when her dad went to wake her, he found that her room had been messed up and the bed was empty. She'd been kidnapped. That was about a week ago now, just after Tovis went away." "Tovis ran off?" "Oh yes, after the second kidnapping up in Sherrington, he packed his stuff and left. But with him being a sage and a mage, he thought he'd be the monster's next target, so he left. He's the best chance we have of finding Lorena, though. He's a mage. He should be here helping us look." "Coward." "And who is Roxy? We saw her walk out of the mayor's office. Long green hair." "She's one of Mayor Stone's friends. Adventurer, very confident. Pretty hair. She's looking for Lorena and the other missing people like you." "Alright. Well, thank you." As you approach the building in front of you, you start to feel a little woozy. Your head starts hurting and it becomes slightly harder to breathe. There must be something noxious in the air. I wonder what it is. Let me guess. Alchemist! Somebody has scrawled a message here closed until further notice. Ugh. And we can't pick our way in there. That's concerning. Shrine, all welcome. You enter Greenleaf's small shrine for the first time. It is fairly large for the size of the community it serves, but doesn't suffer from the impersonal feeling that many big churches do. There are a couple people in here at the moment, all praying. As you look around, you spot the church leader. He smiles and motions for you to join him. Let's see. The soldier still in uniform is sitting completely still and looking straight ahead. You approach and try talking with him, but he spits out a series of obscenities, all aimed at adventurers in general, and you in particular. You decide to leave him alone lest he decides to make his dislike of you more active. This lady is dozing slightly when you approach. She stirs slightly as your shadow falls across her but doesn't awaken. You move to wake her up properly, but the priest stops you. "Please, try not to wake anybody here. If you wish to speak to anybody, I will be more than willing." With a small smile, he moves away. You decide to respect his wishes. This is his temple, after all. You approach this rather plain altar. It's basically a huge slab of rock that has been smoothed down completely, and has then had holy words engraved upon it. The whole thing is rather fancifully decorated with a lilac cloth. Standing near it, you feel more relaxed, more alive, like you belong. It must have an enchantment upon it. Alas, it is not strong enough to do anything truly beneficial for you. Alright then. As you approach this elderly man, he turns and smiles at you. He has a friendly-looking face, and looking into his dark eyes instantly relaxes you. It's no wonder he's in charge of this shrine. When you're close enough, he speaks. Welcome, friend. My name is Eric. I watch over the shrine here and provide a safe place for the citizens of Greenleaf to rest, as well as listening to people's problems. Is there something you wish to ask me? You're not a priest? Eric shakes his head and smiles. No, I am just a man. I used to wander the world learning what I could. Then I got older and decided that Greenleaf was where I wanted to settle down. I stayed with the old priestess who ran the place, and when she passed on, I took over. And I enjoyed every minute of it. Can you teach us any spells? No, I'm afraid not. I'm not a priest by training, so I can't help you in that way. I'm afraid that means I can't heal your wounds either. Sorry. What do you know about the disappearances? A fair amount. After all, people trust me with things, and so I hear a lot from everybody. Of course, you must know Lorena is missing, and Stephen and Cassandra. And Tovis isn't around anymore either. It truly is a terrible time to live in Twilight Valley. Tell us about Lorena. That is Mayor Stone's daughter. The person you are here to find, yes? She went missing a while back now. The mayor is distraught as natural. I didn't know her very well, but I know one who did. Kathleen was a good friend of Lorena. You should go and see her. Oh, and one thing. Kathleen is a very proud person. Be nice to her if you want her help. Who is Stephen? Stephen used to live in Sherrington, a town to the north. He was the second person to go missing after Cassandra. I didn't know him particularly well, but I do know his friend Emily. She spends most of her days outside looking for him. Maybe you should speak to her to learn more. And who is Cassandra? Cassandra lives in Sherrington. Well, lived. She was the first person to disappear around here. As she didn't live here, I didn't know her particularly well, but I know her to say hello. She vanished about a fortnight ago now. Her poor family must be worried sick. Tell us about Tovis. Oh, Tovis. He is a sage and a fine one at that. He even knew some magic. He left after news of Stephen's disappearance. Took it rather hard, I'm afraid. I know he is still in the valley, but I don't know where. Mayor Stone might, though. It may be useful to ask him, if you needed to speak to Tovis, that is. You're not worried about the... Eric is just finishing a conversation with somebody when you return. He smiles as he works his way over to you. Welcome back, welcome back. How else can I help you? You're not worried about the monster? Oh no, I'm far too old to let that bother me. If something comes for me, so be it. I doubt it will come to that, though. It has been a week since Lorena went missing after all. And Captain Sterling and her troops are doing a fine job of keeping the area monster-free. Alright then. That leaves the mayor. You step through this door and into the mayor's office. You don't get much chance to have a look around, though. Your attention is drawn to the far corner of the room. There, sat behind a heavy wooden desk, is a small man, presumably the mayor. It looks as if he has the world on his shoulders. You browse through the many scrolls on the shelf, but they all seem to be standard Empire paperwork. There's nothing here to interest you, or anybody else for that matter. Just checking anyway. That's what I do. Okay. This must be Mayor Stone, administrator of Twilight Valley. He looks up at you wearily and shakily gets to his feet. Come in. I presume you are here about my daughter, yes? You nod. Good, good. Come in, come in. There's much to discuss. What is it you want us to do? Mayor Stone runs his hand across his face. Well, you know my daughter Lorena has been kidnapped along with 2 others. I don't know by what or by who, or where they might be, but I know somebody who might. Just before Lorena went, the town sage Tovis claimed he knew where the monster lived. He left almost straight away. Tovis left, believing he was in danger. He is hiding to the north, and I believe he knows how you can find our missing friends. Go and speak to him, please. And before you go, you should talk to people in town. They might have more information for you. Please, just... He looks you in the eye for a moment, before looking away. Just find her for me. Is there anything else you need to know before you set off? Where is Lorena's mother? Mayor Stone looks down and sighs. She died a few years ago. Not that any of this matters, of course. I'm only telling you so you realize that losing Lorena is not an option for me. Why haven't you been out looking for Lorena yourself? Mayor Stone looks pained for a moment. I want to, but I have duty here, looking after Greenleaf. And as much as it hurts, I am not an adventurer. If I found the monster, it would surely kill me. And what good would I be then? And who is that green-haired woman who just left? Oh, that was Roxy. She's an old friend. She's going to be looking for Lorena, too. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not questioning your abilities, but I'm taking no chances with my baby. Anything else I can help with before you go? No, that's all. Thank you. Okay. And strangely, we can't get in there. That must be where the sage was staying. But that smell, that's concerning. He must have left something to spoil. Okay, he's hiding out to the north. Somewhere. Probably around here, but... Now, let's see. No. Alright, well, we have another town here we can investigate, so let's do so. You approach this small cluster of buildings which are collectively known as Sherrington. It is by far the smallest town you have ever visited and probably the most unwelcoming. You can see nobody at all in the area. After a moment, somebody yells at you. You struggle to hear it, but it sounded like, "Get gone! We don't want anybody else to go missing, so go!" You decide to obey their wishes and leave. Oh, Sherrington's no good. Ah! Here we are. You enter the small cave and squint through the darkness ahead. Can't make out much from here, but you can just about make out some sort of building to the west. There are also two sources of light. One, a campfire south of the building, and another just in front of you that you can't quite identify. This must be the cave Mayor Stone told you about. Tovis should be inside. Hopefully he does know something about Lorena. There's a thin red beam of light spanning the entrance to the small cave. It appears to be magical. It's not giving off any heat and it doesn't have any visible source. Unfortunately, you can't progress into this cave without stepping through it. Do you? No. You stay on the side of caution. You have no idea what may happen to you if you step into the beam. That said, I just realized something. It's night, and everyone goes hiding during the night. Yeah, everyone's gone. The soldier is wandering around Greenleaf watching for any sign of danger. The captain here must be taking the disappearances seriously and for good reason. Okay. So this is when everyone's gone inside. Wait, who's this? You find Liam again. Oh, that is Liam. Okay. So everyone's gone inside and is hiding. So hold on. I'm going to just slam on the wait button so that day comes and we can look into Sherrington. I think it's day again. The place still looks deserted. Still have the sound of night. Okay, it's definitely day again. Can we go in? Nope, Sherrington's still deserted. Alright. Let's cross this beam. You step forward. And nothing seems to happen. The beam wavers slightly and then disappears completely in a haze of sparks. You wait a moment more. Nothing happens. Then suddenly you hear a noise to the west. Who on earth? Who are you? And more to the point, what are you doing here? After a moment that seems to span the ages, you speak. Yes? The man asks, puzzled. You think you detect the slightest smile on his face. We're looking for Mayor Stone's daughter. That is to say, Lorena. We heard you might know where she is. The man tilts his head slightly to the left and looks at you properly, apparently sizing you up. For what reason, you aren't sure. Then after a moment he speaks. Firstly, I assume you're assuming I am Tovis. You nod. Right, well you shouldn't. The world is never as straightforward as you perceive it to be. But I am the person you seek, and sadly I can't help you. I had heard of Lorena's disappearance, but I don't know where she is. Now, if that's all, I'm a busy man. Actually, no, it's not. Tovis frowns for a moment, but then almost immediately smiles. Of course, anything to help your search. I'll answer your questions as best I can. Okay, why'd you free from Greenleaf? Surely a magic user such as yourself would be a great asset right now? Tovis nods. Yes, I would, which is why the monster attacked me. It came into my house at night and attacked me. I managed to flee and ran here. What? Tovis nods. Yes, I came here to try and find out exactly what we're dealing with. I had, back home, discovered that the monster wasn't a dumb creature as we first thought, and having information like that about it made me the perfect target. So after it attacked, I came here and hid. He frowns. And now I'll have to leave. If you could find me, the monster might too. I'll have to see Stone for telling you where I was. Tovis sighs and mutters something under his breath. Then he turns to you. I'm sure our paths will meet again. Farewell, adventurers, I wish you all the best. And then, with a final word and a flourish of his hands, Tovis disappears. You ponder over what was just said. Tovis knows about the monster, but said nothing to you about it. Suddenly you hear something approaching from behind you. You spin around and take defensive stances just inside the cave. Whoever, or whatever you heard approaching, continues trudging on. You group your weapons as the possibility that you were followed plays on your mind. You strain your eyes against the bright daylight to the east and see a shadow moving towards you. It enters the room and raises its hand. You blink a few times and relax slightly. It's Roxy, the girl you saw in Mayor Stone's office back in Greenleaf. She pauses a moment and squints at you. Clearly recognizing you, she smiles and approaches. Well, well, here before me, huh? Yes, and you'll never guess. You tell Roxy about your conversation with Tovis, missing out no details. When you've finished, she stands still and chews at her bottom lip a little. Finally, after a moment, she begins to speak. Well, I don't know. From what you said, he seemed reluctant to tell you anything of any value. She pauses again. I'm going to have a look around. You can either come and speak with me, or go speak to Mayor Stone. Your choice. With that, Roxy walks past you and into the hut Tovis came from. You should probably speak to her before you go, although you should also speak to Mayor Stone as soon as possible. For now, though, talking to Roxy seems more reasonable. She may not be here for much longer. Agreed. We'll talk to Roxy. Just look around the cave first, as I do. You look at the sign, but can't make out what it says. The language is beyond archaic. However, it looks newly engraved. Tovis must have made this plaque. He's even got a little spot he can sit by the lake here. You enter inside this small, humble building. The ceiling is low, and it is slightly chilly inside. A few bookshelves line the walls, and a low bed is gathering dust in the corner. Apart from a smattering of papers on the table, there's no sign that this place is inhabited. Tovis must spend all of his time reading. Let's look around. Nothing there. Ooh, a dagger. I'll take that, please. And also... Oh, I can't take the cloak. Damn. Oh no, that sword should actually go to Draco, even though he could probably use it. Nothing there. Alright, let's speak with Roxy. Roxy is busy tearing the place apart, looking for anything that might be useful. She smiles briefly as you approach and then goes back to her search. Are you sure you should be making such a mess? Roxy shrugs before continuing her search. You said yourself that Tovis had left. There's not much chance of him returning soon either, so I may as well be as messy as I need to be. It's not as if he's got to live here, is it? Can you tell us more about yourself? Roxy doesn't even stop rooting about to answer this time. I'm a friend of Mayor Stone, and I'm here to find Lorena. That's all you need to know. Find anything? No, not a thing. You'd better go talk to Mayor Stone. You said that Tovis had found out about the monster whilst at home, right? You nod. Right. Well, Stone should be able to get you into Tovis's house. Go back there and ask him about it. I'm going to stay here and have a good look about. Maybe I'll see you later. Okay. Can we pick this lock? No. And a pick broke. We've only got one pick left, damn it. Alright. fine. Back to Mare Stone. Oh, I didn't even notice this. Yeah, go upstairs. No, don't take the traps. You enter this bedroom and notice that everything is covered in fine dust. Clothes have been thrown haphazardly on top of the beds. It's almost as if nobody has been in here for ages. Actually, when you look closer, the bed on the right is dust-free and the clothes aren't thrown. They've been carefully placed. Odd. Very odd. Silver ring and a cloak. Who needs a cloak? You need a cloak. And the silver ring we can just sell. Wear that cloak. Yes, back down. Mare Stone is staring into the distance when you return. You cough gently to get his attention and he looks up with a start. You found her? Please, have you? Well, we've met with Tovis. Well, it seems as though you found a lead. I knew you would, thank you. He goes to one of the shelves and rummages around, finally extracting a key from it. He hands it over. Let's hope you find something down there for Lorina's sake. Tovis' house is just to the east, south of the temple. Alright. Well, I guess we can look in here. You enter this small shop, mindful that the sign outside said it was closed. Looking around, you see that everything is covered in dust and random junk is thrown everywhere. Looking closer, you see boot prints in the dust. It appears Roxy has been here ahead of you. Toadstools and healing herbs. This cauldron is full of a viscous, noxious goo. Just being near it makes you feel slightly ill. It shouldn't be allowed to be left here. It might spill or burn its way outside. Unfortunately, there is nothing you can do apart from telling somebody about it. You find a trapdoor in the far corner. Lifting the door, you peer down. Can't make much out, you'll have to go down to have a proper look. You climb down the ladder from the back room of Tovis' home and find yourself in some kind of storeroom under the earth. Several stone boxes have been dumped here and construction materials litter the floor. Whilst wondering what on earth this place is for and who dug it out, you spot a pair of heavy wooden doors to the west. A set of footprints disappear under them, clearly visible in the dust. Since you've just received the key from Mare Stone, you wonder who could have made them. It clearly couldn't have been Roxy. You open this chest, half hoping and half expecting to find something worthwhile. You're sadly disappointed. At the bottom of the smooth stone box is nothing but an abundance of fresh air. Sure, let's take a look inside. This is a long tunnel. That doesn't work. As you approach this section of wall, you see that it has a large crack running down it. You could probably just about fit through. As you wander down this concealed passage, you pick up the overwhelming stench of death. Fortunately, you manage not to gag. Suddenly, you freeze. Could this be the monster's lair? Or at least where it dumped the bodies when it had finished with them? But that would mean that either Tovis is the monster or is at least responsible for it. Well, let's take a look inside. You reach the end of the tunnel and look about. There's blood everywhere and more than a few bones. However, they are the bones of rats and mice, not humans. You breathe a sigh of relief. The idea that Tovis was a monster was ridiculous at best. Can't believe that you let yourself believe it. However, you are still no closer to finding the whereabouts of the missing citizens. You turn to go... Oh, but catch a glimpse of something shiny in one of the nests. Maybe worth checking out. No. You rummage about in this nest and find a bronze key. Somebody must have hidden it here before this place was abandoned. Perhaps it's for this other door. You step through the door into this large underground room and immediately wish you hadn't. You get a terrible sense of dread just being here. Looking around, you notice two things. Firstly, the northern end is full of bookshelves. Tovis must have been collecting tomes for years. Secondly, a large book is lying open just in front of you. The writing looks fairly new. Nothing we can take on any of these bookshelves, and the bookshelves don't say anything. None of them do. You eagerly flick through this book, hoping that it contains Tovis's notes concerning how he tracked the monster. Looks like he came up trumps. It is his journal. Do you wish to read it? It may be useful. Okay, can't go in there. Read the book. You flick through the book and see that each entry is just one line long and in some strange magical tongue. Luckily, you know enough about magic to figure out what this is. If you say the words out loud, a shade will be summoned to deliver the entry. You'll all gather around the book and read the last entry, dated about a week ago. Rema et Nuad, Mausavik. Suddenly a shade appears on the platform to the south. It is silent for a moment, but quickly begins speaking in Tovis's voice. It sounds as if it's a million miles away. We spoke again today. She wants to leave Greenleaf. I think I have to tell her about me tomorrow. Whenever I say that I can't see her during the day, she accuses me of not loving her. So she must know, and soon. That seemed rather cryptic. Who is the lady Tovis was referring to, and what does she need to know? You turn the page back and read the previous entry. Oh no, is Tovis a vampire? Oh, god damn it. Yannis Akil see. Another shade appears. It begins speaking immediately in the same far-off way. Lorena and I went to the lake tonight. She spoke about her dreams, her hopes. She is so fragile, so perfect. I was about to tell her, but it would surely mean the end for us. I must see her tomorrow. I pray for the strength to do what is right. Well, that cleared things up a little. From the sounds of it, Tovis and Lorena were a couple. Were a couple before he left town and before she was taken. Surprisingly, though, this was the first you'd heard about it. They probably kept it from everybody, including Mayor Stone. As well as wondering why they'd do that, you also wonder what this burning issue he has to share with her really is. You turn back to the previous entry in the hope of getting some answers. Not even going to bother reading those. Again, the shade begins speaking immediately. I'm finding it harder to live with what I am. I am a murderer. A monster. I must drink blood to live. How can I tell her? I need to feed. You freeze. Your blood feels icy cold and your heart begins beating faster. Tovis is the monster, and you can only assume he took Lorena as well. But it doesn't make sense. You learned just moments ago that he loved her. Suddenly you hear something to the north. You spin around. Oh. Well, this is a nice surprise, isn't it? It's Tovis, but dressed in all black and looking very menacing. He must have been waiting here for you. He looks at you and motions to the book behind you. Ah, my diary. I shouldn't have left it lying around, although I suppose it to be found out is a relief. And it was a rather good read, wasn't it? I also suppose you'll want to know where Lorena is and what I did with the other people I took. He pauses for a moment and you look around for a way to get out. He spots you doing so. Oh, come now, let's not be silly. I'd kill you before you could make it to the door. Now I expect you'll want to go and tell everybody how evil I am, right? As I thought. Well, how about this? If you can convince me to let you leave, I will. If not, I'll kill you now. Oh, and this isn't an option you can decline. Time is running out. You start to panic. There's nothing you can think of that might help. Then suddenly it comes to you. We need to tell Mayor Stone about his daughter. Surely you don't want him to worry about someone he loves so dearly. What you say strikes a chord with Tovis. You press the advantage and play on the fact that he loves her too by adding, and maybe he'll be able to understand why you took her, if we explain. Unfortunately, it only works for a moment. Tovis shakes his head slowly, still lost in thought. Then he snaps out of it and glares at you. Nice try, but it didn't work. Why should I take that risk? He moves closer and hisses, No, we have to finish this now, before you're allowed to say anything. He moves to attack, but at that moment somebody else bursts into the room. You don't stand a chance in hell. Guys, what's going on? Roxy, slightly out of breath and looking a little worse for wear, Roxy enters the room and glances from you to Tovis and back. Tovis scowls. Well, isn't this cozy? You're lucky, adventurers, that I don't wish to battle today, but we will meet again, and soon. And with that, he disappears in a flash of light. Roxy just frowns. Guys? Really, what's going on? You explain everything to Roxy, everything that has happened since you last spoke. She grows pale. You need to tell Mayor Stone about... Actually, we should look around first. Then once we've done that, we'll tell the mayor. Come on. Alright. Well, we'll do that in the next episode. So, the monster is a vampire who is in love with Lorena. But why did he take her? I mean, the other two he must have taken so that he could feed on them, but Lorena? Very curious. We're going to look around first. But that'll be in the next episode. So until then, I'm Chester44. That is Fox, Sheik, Bonnie, and Draco. This has been a Blades of Avernum Let's Play, and I shall see you all next time.